Hello, my name is Johnny Farrell, and this is my introduction speech for Foundations of Rhetoric. Have you ever seen the smile on a kid's face when they get their first hit or home run in baseball? What if I told you it's the exact same thing when they get their first spare or strike in bowling? Coaching youth sports can be such a rewarding and fulfilling experience, not just for the coaches, but for the athletes and their families as well. As a USBC Bronze and Safe Sports certified coach, I've been coaching the youth bowlers at Cypress Lanes in Winter Haven for almost 3 years now. Many times we find ourselves looking for a new hobby or something to do that will give back to our communities. Some will work at homeless shelters, some will work for volunteer organizations, and some of us will find their calling in coaching youth sports. I will be discussing three main points, and they are the importance of supporting and giving back to your community, sharing your knowledge and love for a sport with today's youth, and lastly, the rewarding experience of watching the youth you are coaching not just succeed, but excel at a difficult sport. Supporting and giving back to your local community should be something that we all strive to take time and do in our lives. Some may be under the impression to do this involves large amounts of time or money. And when in fact there are many ways we can support our community, but we may not realize it. Take, for example, buying cookies from your local Girl Scout troop, volunteering your time at school, even if it's just a few hours here and there. Then, of course, there are the big ticket items like spending a weekend building for Habitat for Humanity, or the big one, devoting every Saturday morning to coaching youth sports. But no matter the amount of time or money involved, it's important that we all give back in ways that we can afford. This goes into sharing our knowledge as adults with our youth. Our youth are a blank canvas, and it's our responsibility as a community to raise them to be productive members of society. From the time they are born till they leave the home, we are engaged in teaching them every day. From the mundane as learning to walk, riding a bicycle, changing a tire, coaching sports is no different than the daily lessons we teach our youth every day. In today's society, our youth have a lot of choices that may interest them. In our area alone, our youth can choose from future farmers of America, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, gymnastics, dance, and of course, a lot of them are attracted to playing some sort of sport. Our interest as adults or parents may be what gets them started, but they will find their way, and many will find a sport that they love. Youth sports is such a large part of every community, and many times they fall short on coaches and volunteers that are needed to make the program successful. How many baseball or softball coaches do you know that played on the same fields as youth that they're coaching on now? Same thing happens in bowling. Story upon story of how they have grown out of youth league and are now coaching at the same bowling alley where they grew up and spent most of their childhood. If you have the time, this is where you can step in and fill those spots so desperately needed to coach our youth. Coaching youth bowling can be a very rewarding for both the coach and the athlete. Whether you're their first coach when they first started or they've moved up into a league that you're coaching, the rewards are always the same. We see them start as early as 5, 6 years old because their parents are introducing them to a sport that they did as a kid. And we see them come into us even up into the mid-teens. But I'll tell you, one thing rings true. They all celebrate with huge smiles the first time they hit the pins, get their first spare, their first strike, or their first turkey, which is 3 strikes in a row. Even the most closed up teenager we have can't help but celebrate when they set that new high game score. Then, of course, the pride and satisfaction that we get as coaches after we give them some swing tempo, release advice, or even just, hey, slow down. Those smiles go both ways, and as a coach, when you share your knowledge and watch them excel in an area that was causing problems with their game. Many times I'll do an internal fist bump after dropping just a dime of knowledge and then watching them do exactly what I said and put 10 back in the pit. But the bigger rewards we get as coaches come at postseason awards or when our youth bowlers leave for bigger and better parts of our sport. At Cypress, we just had our postseason awards. The smiles, the cheers, the family hugs. That's why we do it. We have 3 high school senior bowlers leaving Cypress this year, off to join the ranks of collegiate bowling. And as a collegiate bowler myself, it's a difficult sport when you reach that level. So it's an honor to watch these kids go off to further their sport. And aside from watching somebody go professional, this is what we strive for. We've taught them life skills in dealing with success and failure. In an article pertaining to coaching community sports, it discusses the importance of giving our youth enjoyable outlets where they face adversity and success in an enjoyable environment, and how it transfers to life skills they will face when they leave home and join society on their own. We have to remember our youth are the leaders of the community of the future. As adults, it is our responsibility to instill in them the same sense of community that we share with them as they grow up. This isn't a subject they learn in schools. It's learned by watching us as coaches, volunteers, and as leaders in our own communities. And when they grow up and give back to this in the same way, we can take comfort in the fact that they have followed our footsteps and taken on the same responsibility and rewarding adventure. Remember this as we close. Success is not about the trophies and medals you win. It's about the character you build, the friendships you make, and the lessons you learned along the way.